I'm just saying, one drink. It doesn't have to be a big thing. We could talk, laugh a little.
I
That's
heard
all.
you the first time.
Then what's the problem?
The problem is I'm not interested at all.
You didn't even think about it.
I didn't need to. Have a good night.
Come on. Seriously?
Seriously.
Damn.
Outside a bar in downtown Phoenix on a Thursday night in March, a security camera captures a conversation that lasts less than 2 minutes. A woman stands near the entrance. A man approaches. They talk. She shakes her head. She walks away. He stays there, standing still, watching her leave. That footage sat in a police evidence room for 3 weeks before anyone looked at it, before anyone connected it to what happened next. Her name was Emily Richardson, 29 years old, graphic designer, lived alone in a luxury apartment complex in Scottsdale. 4 days after that conversation outside the bar, another security camera in her building's underground parking garage captures something else. A woman walking toward the elevator, and someone behind her, following at a distance. That was the last time Emily Richardson was seen alive. 1 week later, her body was found in an abandoned industrial warehouse near Sky Harbor Airport. No witnesses, no DNA, no obvious suspect, just 2 pieces of CCTV footage that didn't make sense until investigators went backward, retracing every moment of Emily's last days, and discovered that sometimes the most dangerous thing you can do is say no to the wrong person. Most people think crimes like this start with stalking, obsession, weeks or months of escalation. That's the pattern we expect. Someone who knows the victim, follows them, plans meticulously. Police started there. They looked at Emily's ex-boyfriend from 6 months ago. Clean breakup. He had moved to California. They interviewed coworkers, neighbors, friends, everyone in her life. They checked her dating apps, her social media messages, her phone records. No threats, no concerning interactions, no red flags anywhere. They found nothing that connected anyone to her. The parking garage footage showed a figure, but the angle was wrong. The lighting was poor. The resolution wasn't clear enough for facial recognition. They had a victim, and they had footage of someone following her, but they had no identity, no motive, no connection. Dead end. Wrong. The connection existed. It just wasn't where they were looking. It was in 90 seconds, outside a bar that Emily probably forgot about 10 minutes later. Who was Emily Richardson? She grew up in Tucson, moved to Phoenix after college, worked for a design agency downtown, loved her job, had a tight group of friends from grad school, talked to her mother every Sunday morning without fail. Her co-workers described her as creative, reliable, the person who brought homemade cookies to meetings and always volunteered to help with projects. She lived on the 12th floor of a building with 180 units, went to yoga 3 times a week, ran in the mornings, kept a routine that made her feel safe. Good building, security guards, cameras everywhere, underground parking with key card access. She did everything you're supposed to do to stay safe. On March 14th, a Thursday evening, Emily met 2 friends at the Deuce on South Central Avenue, after work. They got there around 7 p.m. Drinks, appetizers, catching up about life and work. Normal Thursday. Around 8:30 p.m., Emily said she was heading home, early morning meeting the next day. Her friends stayed for one more drink. Emily walked outside alone. The bar's exterior security camera was pointing at the entrance. It caught everything. A man walks up to her. He's smiling. He says something. She responds politely, but her body language is closed, arms crossed, taking a small step back. He gestures toward the bar entrance, like he's inviting her for a drink. She shakes her head, says something brief. He says something else, still smiling, still friendly. She shakes her head again, firmer this time. She turns and walks away toward the parking lot where she'd left her car. The camera shows him standing there, not moving, just watching her walk away. And here's what you can see if you know what to look for. His posture changes. The smile fades. He stands there for almost 30 seconds, completely still, staring in the direction she went. Then he walks the opposite direction, hands in his pockets. That's where the footage ends. That's all investigators had for 3 weeks. A random interaction, a polite rejection. Nothing criminal, nothing threatening. Just a moment that happens to women every single day. Emily drove home that night. She texted her roommate from college who lived in Seattle, said she'd had a good time, mentioned nothing about the interaction because it wasn't worth mentioning. She got to her apartment building around 9 p.m., swiped her key card, went to her unit. The next morning she went to work, had her early meeting. Everything was normal. Friday night she stayed in, watched movies, ordered takeout. Saturday she went to yoga, had lunch with a friend, went grocery shopping. Sunday morning she was supposed to meet her mother for brunch at 11 a.m. She didn't show up. She didn't answer her phone. Her mother called the building manager who did a wellness check. Emily's car was in the parking garage. Her apartment was locked, no signs of disturbance. Her purse and phone were inside. But Emily was gone. Police started a missing person investigation. They canvassed the building. Nobody had seen her leave Sunday morning. Saturday night? One neighbor said they heard the elevator around 11 p.m., but that wasn't unusual. Security footage from the building showed Emily entering the parking garage elevator Saturday evening at 8:47 p.m., returning from grocery shopping, carrying bags. That was the last footage of her entering the building. But wait, there was more footage. Sunday morning, 6:23 a.m., the parking garage camera shows something, a figure near the elevator bank. The angle is bad, the lighting is worse, it's early morning and the garage is dark. But there's movement. Someone near Emily's parking spot. The footage is grainy, unclear. You can see a person, but you can't see a face, can't see identifying features. Just someone there who shouldn't be there. It could be nothing. It could be everything. The elevator goes up. But Emily's key card wasn't used to access her floor. The elevator went to the ground level. Exterior cameras show nothing because the ground floor has a side exit with a broken camera that maintenance hadn't fixed for 2 weeks. She was gone. For 3 weeks, investigators had nothing. No body, no suspects, no witnesses. Just that grainy parking garage footage that showed someone, but not who. They released still images to the media asking for public help identifying the person. No leads. They checked every resident in the building. All had alibis or didn't match the build. They were stuck. Then, on March 25th, a warehouse worker at an abandoned industrial facility near the airport called police. He'd seen something. Emily's body was found inside, in a back room that had been used for storage years ago. She had been there for days. Cause of death was strangulation. No sexual assault, no robbery. Her jewelry was still on her. This wasn't about theft. This wasn't about that. This was about something else. Forensic teams processed the scene. No fingerprints, no DNA that didn't belong to the warehouse workers who'd been in and out over the years. Whoever did this was careful or lucky. But they found something else. Tire tracks outside the warehouse, partial footprint near where her body was found, and her phone. Her phone was powered off, but it was there, left deliberately like he wanted them to find her eventually. They pulled her phone records. Her last text was Friday night to her mother saying goodnight. Nothing Saturday. Nothing Sunday. Her phone went offline Saturday at 11:47 p.m. They mapped her movements. Work, home, yoga studio, grocery store. Nothing unusual. No strange calls. No suspicious contacts. Then, they started reviewing every security camera in a 3-block radius of her apartment building for the week before she disappeared. Gas stations, traffic cameras, building entrances, frame by frame. It took 80 hours of footage review, and then they found it. The bar. The Deuce. Thursday night. Emily walking out. A man approaching. The conversation. The rejection. Him standing there watching her leave. Now, they had something. A possible suspect. But who was he? The footage quality from the bar was better than the parking garage, but still not perfect. They enhanced it, sent it to facial recognition databases. Nothing. No matches. No ID. He wasn't in the system. They released the footage to the media. Local news ran it with the headline, "Woman rejects man days before disappearance. Do you know him?" 3 days later, they got a call. A woman in Tempe said she recognized him. Her brother. She hadn't seen him in 2 months, but that was definitely him. His name was Marcus Hayes, 33 years old, no criminal record, worked in IT support for a telecommunications company, lived alone in a small apartment in Mesa. When police went to his apartment, he wasn't there. They got a warrant. They searched the place. What they found explained everything and nothing at the same time. Marcus Hayes had been diagnosed with dissociative identity disorder 6 years earlier. 2 distinct personalities. The diagnosis was in medical records they obtained through the warrant. He'd been in therapy, on medication, stable for years according to his psychiatrist. But he'd stopped going to therapy 8 months ago. Stopped taking his medication 6 months ago. His apartment had 2 distinct areas. One side was neat, organized, normal. A desk with work materials, a bookshelf, framed photos of family. The other side was chaos. Papers scattered everywhere, writings on the walls, notebooks filled with angry scrawlings. One notebook had Emily's name written over and over, 47 pages. He'd seen her at the bar. He'd approached her as one person, sweet, polite, accepting of the rejection. But the other part of him, the part that couldn't accept no, that part took over later. The writings showed the split. "She was nice, I respect her choice," written in neat handwriting on one page. "She thinks she's too good, she needs to learn," written in jagged letters on the next page. Different person, same body. Police found his car 3 days later in a parking lot in Tucson, 100 miles south. Marcus Hayes was found in a motel room nearby. When they arrested him, he seemed confused, asked why they were there, said he didn't know anything about Emily Richardson. They brought him in for questioning. 6 hours of interrogation. He maintained he didn't know her. They showed him the bar footage. His face changed. Recognition. But he said he didn't remember talking to her. They showed him the parking garage footage. He went quiet. His lawyer arrived. Questioning stopped. Psychiatric evaluation was ordered. The evaluation confirmed dissociative identity disorder, severe, untreated. 2 distinct personalities that had become more separated when he stopped treatment. One personality had approached Emily at the bar, been rejected, and moved on. The other personality had taken offense, followed her routine, learned where she lived, waited in her parking garage early Sunday morning when he knew she'd be going for her morning run, confronted her, and when she didn't recognize him, when she rejected him again without even knowing she was rejecting him again, he snapped. The trial took 4 months. The defense argued diminished capacity due to mental illness. The prosecution argued he knew right from wrong, evidenced by the fact that he tried to hide the body, that he powered off her phone, that he avoided cameras where possible. The jury heard testimony from his psychiatrist, who said untreated DID can lead to violent episodes where one personality acts and the other has no memory of it. They heard testimony from forensic psychologists who said the notebook showed clear intent from at least one personality. They heard from Emily's mother, who testified about Sunday brunch, about how her daughter never missed it, about how she knew something was wrong immediately. The jury deliberated for 2 days. Guilty of second-degree murder. Not first degree because they couldn't prove premeditation from the personality that was dominant at the time. Sentenced to 30 years. Marcus Hayes is in a psychiatric prison facility. He receives treatment now. According to his doctors, the personality that killed Emily has no memory of doing it. The personality that talked to her at the bar is devastated by what the other one did. 2 people in one body. One of them is a murderer. One of them is a victim of his own mind. Both of them are in prison. Emily's mother speaks at victim advocacy events now. She talks about the moment at the bar that Emily never mentioned, probably never thought about again. A man asking for a drink. A polite no. The kind of interaction women have constantly and forget immediately because it's so common. But for Marcus Hayes, or the part of him that couldn't handle rejection, that moment was everything. Emily's friends said she was always polite when turning people down, always kind, even when declining advances. She did nothing wrong. She was friendly, clear, appropriate. And that's what makes this case so terrifying. There was no way for her to know. The man who smiled and walked away at the bar wasn't the same person, mentally, who waited in her parking garage 4 days later. You can't predict a split that happens inside someone's mind. You can't recognize danger when it wears a friendly face and hides a second personality underneath. Here's what the Phoenix Police Department doesn't advertise, but what their internal memos show. In the 3 months before Emily's death, there had been 18 reports from women in the downtown Phoenix area about a man approaching them at bars, being polite, being rejected, and then being seen later near their cars or buildings. 18 reports. Different descriptions because the encounters happened at different times, different mental states. None of the reports led to any action because politely talking to someone isn't a crime. Following someone in public spaces is hard to prove. The reports sat in a database unconnected until after Emily was found. Then, they pulled them all. Different women, same pattern. Approach, rejection, reappearance. Marcus Hayes was never arrested for any of those encounters because he never did anything illegal in those moments. Until he did. Until one night, the personality that couldn't handle rejection took control at the wrong time, in the wrong place, with the wrong woman who had no reason to think she was in danger. The parking garage in Emily's building has better cameras now. The broken ground floor camera was fixed. Security guards do rounds every hour. But Emily Richardson is still gone. Her mother still sets a place for her at Sunday brunch sometimes, forgetting, then remembering. Her apartment was cleared out 6 months after her death. Her mother kept her design portfolio, and the plant Emily had been growing takes care of it now, says it's the only thing of Emily's that's still alive. Marcus Hayes will be eligible for parole in 2048. Both personalities express remorse, both participate in therapy. But dissociative identity disorder doesn't get cured, it gets managed. Management only works if the person stays on medication and in therapy. When Marcus stopped treatment 6 months before Emily's death, both personalities made that choice. When he followed her to her building, waited in that parking garage, that was the other personality taking control. And when Emily rejected someone she didn't even remember meeting, that's when the personality that couldn't accept no took her life. If you're a woman reading this, you already know that saying no is complicated. You've been taught to be polite. You've been taught not to escalate. You've been taught that direct rejection can be dangerous, so you soften it, you make excuses, you try to let them down easy. And you're right to think that way, because you've learned it from experience, from the time saying no led to anger, to following, to retaliation. Emily was polite. Emily was clear. Emily did everything right. And it didn't matter, because the person she rejected wasn't operating with a normal mind, and there was no way for her to know that. This case isn't about what Emily should have done differently, because she did nothing wrong. This is about a system that doesn't take mental health seriously until someone dies. Marcus Hayes was diagnosed 6 years before he killed Emily. He had treatment. He had medication. He stopped both, and nobody checked. No system existed to flag that. No requirement existed to monitor someone with violent potential. He just stopped going to therapy and stopped taking medication and went about his life until the personality that couldn't control himself took control of his body. After Emily's death, Arizona legislators proposed Emily's Law, requiring check-ins for individuals with severe personality disorders who stopped treatment. It died in committee due to privacy concerns and lack of funding. The bill never passed. So the system remains the same. Someone gets diagnosed, gets treatment, stops, and nobody follows up unless they commit a crime. By then, it's too late. If you work in a bar, if you're security in a parking garage, if you're a woman who goes out alone, this case should make you think about the moments you don't think about. The person who asks for your number and you say no. The person who offers to buy you a drink and you decline. The person who seems nice but something feels off. Trust that feeling. Every woman Emily's mother has spoken to at her advocacy events has said the same thing. They've had encounters that made them uncomfortable, but they couldn't explain why. They've had moments where someone seemed normal, but something underneath wasn't right. And most of the time, nothing happens. Most rejections are accepted. Most people move on. But the ones who don't, the ones who can't, the ones who have something broken inside them, those are the ones you can't identify until it's too late. Emily walked away from that bar thinking about her morning meeting. The man she rejected walked away thinking thoughts that weren't his own, controlled by a part of his mind that wanted revenge for a slight that wasn't even a slight. And 4 days later, she was dead. Her mother says the hardest part isn't the grief, it's the randomness. If Emily had left 5 minutes earlier, gone to a different place, said yes to one more drink, any tiny detail different, she'd still be alive. Marcus wouldn't have seen her. The chain wouldn't have started. But that's not how life works. Emily was exactly where she was supposed to be, doing what she had every right to do, and it cost her everything. There's no lesson, there's no prevention. Just a woman who said no and paid with her life because that stranger's mind was broken in a way she couldn't see. If you've ever rejected someone and felt afraid, if you've ever said no and worried about retaliation, if you've chosen politeness over directness because you feared escalation, you're not paranoid. You're experienced. Emily couldn't have known. None of the other 18 women could have known. They said no, like they had every right to, and hoped the person would accept it. Most did. One didn't. And that's the reality women live with. The knowledge that no is your right, but it might also be your risk. Emily decided it was worth it. She was right to decide that. And she died anyway.